Okay, welcome all. I have organized this as a 5 days of Agile Scrum training session, 1 hour each on every day we will be doing. So we don't have any external trainer for that, and as I already updated that, I only will be taking as I'm a certified Scrum Master. So a background is, luckily when I was working as a software engineer in Accenture long time ago, maybe somewhere around 10 years ago. So that time Agile was kind of a new, and I got into the project which was Agile development itself, which means in within Accenture we were developing many tools. There were a set of 7 to 8 different tools, and those tools where we were tracking the entire Agile process for different products. So my manager, my senior manager and all, they used to conduct training within Accenture for the managers, senior managers, and the leads and above, and they will try to test, evaluate whether the project can be converted into the Agile or not. So majority of them were following V model in the software development lifecycle. There is a model known as V model that we were following. So I developed many things on the tool itself, and then was a part of training. So from that day, the journey started. Now it's more than 10 years into the Agile in which I am working. So that was the insight. And then in the previous organization, when I was working, that 2 days of training I attended, and I'm certified Scrum Master. So we'll be seeing this one I am skipping as I know all of you. So what we are going to cover as the agenda is we'll be seeing what is Agile. Anyway, all of us are already into the Kanban, and one team is already into the Scrum sprinting mode. But still, I will just give an overview, and then we'll be seeing what is Scrum, uh, Agile Manifesto, what are Agile principle, and we'll be deep diving into the sprint. That is what sprinting we are going to do. And then there are different Scrum roles. We'll be seeing each Scrum role within a Scrum, and then we'll be having some Scrum ceremonies. And Scrum Master is one more person typically. And the Scrum metrics is what are the metrics typically, which we can track as a process of Scrum. And feel free to interrupt me anywhere in between. So I'm starting with this, like this is an empirical process control where you can see the circle, inspecting, adapting, and transparency. Again, inspecting, adapting, and transparency. So this is the cycle how it goes. You're going to inspect what are the things which are not working, not well, the gap, maybe the requirement gap or something like that. Then you will adapt. And whatever you adapt and give it as, it will be very much transparent. So it is like a missile, which is guided missile. So the guided missile can change its target every time it can adapt. So we'll be seeing something similar to this here. And this, this slide is very important. If we understand this one, the 50% of our work can be done for the 5 days of training, which we are thinking. So here you are going to see some terms like the customer is there who is giving input to the product owner, and then product owner do something and then will work with the team, and then finally somewhere here the finished product or the finished work is coming out. So at very high level we'll be seeing this, and again in the subsequent slides we are going to deep dive into everything. So I think all of you are aware of the software development life cycle, which start from requirement gathering till the deployment and the maintenance. And we will be having different phases there. So the first foremost phase when you are doing need analysis, requirement gathering, and a system analysis and all those things, So those things will be there in the waterfall model, which you can somewhere try to correlate here. So if the requirement is coming from customer, or you are having a product which you want to customize and give it to another customers. So for those customization also you will be having some requirement. So all these requirements will pass on to product owner. And then who will be the product owner? Typically, this product owner will be someone from the customer end. But say suppose if the customers or client don't have person who is expert in the product owner role, then within our organization we can have someone as a product owner. And then sometimes what happens here in their org also they will be having one product owner, and in our organization also will be having one product owner. But the single point of contact for all the requirements will be passed on to product owner. And then what product owner is going to do? Product owner is going to create a product backlog. And this product backlog always will be in the prioritized list of order of the requirement. This product backlog will be a live document, which means it will be ever growing. So earlier in waterfall model, it will take if you are having a long project of say suppose 2 or 3 years, so first 3 to 4 months will be invested only for requirement gathering, and then once your entire business requirement, say suppose a business requirement is having 8,000 business rules, so unless and until those 8,000 business rules are not freezed and not signed off by the customer, we won't move for the development. We'll be having a detailed software requirement specification or use case specification, a kind of thing. But here we don't have all those things. We just have one document. It can be in the form of Excel sheet also, or there are many tools now. Like one of the tool which we are using is Jira. On the Jira itself, you are having product backlog. So from this product backlog, the product owner is going to decide what all items can come into the sprint backlog. So you'll be having a sprint planning meeting. And this sprint planning meeting can also be in two parts. Someone says sprint planning meeting 1 and sprint planning meeting 2, or pre-sprint planning and then post-sprint planning, something like that. So in the initial first part, based on the priority, product owner is going to decide, say suppose list, and this list will be in the form of epic stories, like that. So we'll come to epic and story part later, but say suppose you are having 200 or 220 list of items which is in the prioritized order already. From this list, product owner, depending on the team velocity, we'll be seeing what is velocity later, but depending on some parameter like team velocity, and on the basis of capacity planning, that also we'll see later. So with those two parameters and on the basis of priority, they can decide, okay, 15, 16, 17 items can come to the sprint backlog. So we'll be having a sprint planning for that. And after sprint planning, you will be having backlog grooming, all these things will happen. And we are going to do story pointing. And once the story pointing happens, then the task breakout will come to your sprint backlog. So this is one document. So we are having just two documents. One document is product backlog, and in every sprint you are having sprint backlog document. And from this sprint backlog document, this team, which is known as a dev team or engineering team or a scrum team, give it any name, they are going to execute this sprint. And then you will be having something known as sprint length. So sprint length will be typically from 1 week to 4 weeks. So I will ask this question: what is the shortest sprint length you have heard or you are aware of in any organization. So 2 week of sprint is standard. But any get? Yeah.
Yeah, I have the shortest I have seen is 2 weeks sprint.
Okay, the shortest is 2 weeks. So someone else has seen the sprint length less than this? No, no problem. So we'll come later into that. Like there are organizations who are running sprint, means who are running sprint less than 1 week or a day. Is it possible to run a sprint every day? So, so we'll be coming to those interesting organizations also later. But let me cover this entire slide, which will give you uh, a good glance of the entire Scrum framework, which we are proposing and going to implement in our project. So you will be having a sprint backlog and a sprint length. Say suppose a typical is a 2 weeks of sprint. Now in the 2 week of sprint, you will be having a sprint ended and some team deliverables. Those team deliverables will be items in a backlog. Again, the items in sprint backlog will be in the prioritized order only. And based on that, you will be having the entire processes. You will be having after every 20 hours, you will be having a daily stand up, or we used to say it as a scrum call. And the daily stand up meeting is only one meeting for the entire day, no other meeting, and usually 10 to 15 minutes it will take depending on the team size. So what is the ideal team size and all also we will be seeing, but you are having daily stand up meeting. And Scrum Master is also one role. So we are having mainly three roles. You can see product owner, the team, and Scrum Master. Apart from this three role, we don't have any fourth role in the Scrum. We don't have project manager. We don't have explicit developer or QA or business analyst. All those titles designation doesn't matter. Everyone is a part of team. We'll call this team as a Scrum team. Okay. And on daily basis, whatever work you are doing, say suppose if you are using Jira also, you are logging your work against specific Jira or any other tool which you are using. So on daily basis, you can see the burn down chart and the burn up chart. We'll see what is that later. It is one of the matrices. And then now so for entire 2 week goes on like this with daily stand up and all. And after end of this sprint, just before ending a sprint, when your work is completed or on daily basis, it depends, you will be having a sprint review. So you are having a finished work, then you will be doing sprint review. In the sprint review, the product owner will give you final go no go. If the product owner says, I'm not saying QA, because we don't have any QA, we don't have any developer or someone. So ultimate decision taker here is, and this is not peer review, this is sprint review. Sprint review means within a sprint backlog, you might have taken multiple stories with different story point. So story number one is completed. So for that story number one, you are going to give demo or a sprint review. So usually uh, a team member will be giving whoever has developed that particular story, and then accordingly, if it meets all the acceptance criteria, the product owner can say, hey, I'm saying it as done, I'm saying it as go, which means this is accepted and it will contribute to sprint completion. If product owner says no, there is no, out of 6 or 7 conditions, one condition is not met, then this may be spillover, or if you have time before sprint ending, you will take and again work on this. And after sprint, when sprint is closed, you will be, or at the last day of the sprint, we will be having a sprint retrospective. So that we are doing retrospection. Why? So that we can improve as a team, and this Scrum team can become more mature as a mature Scrum team. So here we'll be talking about what went well, what didn't go well, and any areas of improvement, as we used to do a retro. So if we understand only this one slide, I think most of the things are covered. And now we will be deep diving into the entire framework, and at high level we'll be seeing the agile. And so people usually confuse between agile and scrum. They will think, okay, if I am doing agile, which means I am doing scrum only. But you may consider scrum as a subset of agile if that understanding helps. So before moving, any queries, any questions on this particular slide, whatever I explained till this point? And why this circle is like this? Because our end objective is you want to give a customer fully functional product. Now, fully functional uh, product, you cannot give it at one go. So usually based on the MVP, minimal viable product or feature, what we say, a product owner decide what are the things which can go in the first iteration, and these are iterations. Okay, first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle. So we can have multiple sprint, and this multiple sprint can be clubbed into one release. Again, it depends from organization to organization. Few organization, what they can do, okay, within a sprint, if something is completed, they will push to the production. Other organizations, what they can do, hey, my sprint length is of 2 weeks, which means if I'm going to deliver 6 sprint work into the production at once, in the pre-prod environment anyway the customer can see, but in the production environment, if I am pushing, which means there are 4 releases for the entire year, which is planned in every quarter. So in the quarter one, the 6 sprints can go. Something like that. The plan will be there. So this is how the things flows in Scrum world. Okay, shall I move? Fine.
Yes, Ankur.
So this you are fully aware, like software development life cycle, and then in software development life cycle we have different methodologies like waterfall model, spiral model, V model, rapid access development model, and many more. So agile is also one of them, what we can say. So typically these 5 phases will be there: requirement analysis, design, development, testing, and maintenance. So it goes like this. We cannot do development in the traditional software development lifecycle earlier without designing phase to be completed. Only when designing phase is completed, then only you will do development. And once development is completed, then only you will do testing and maintenance. But now if the project is of 2 years, what is the drawback of this system is, and I have seen it in many organizations, that when the requirement analysis and everything happened, there were few stakeholders in the organization, the customer side or the client side. They decided something, and then this development team took a year to push something into the production, because after a year only this deployment and the testing happens. Now after a year there is a huge gap in the requirement and what the end product is being delivered. So this communication between the customer and the delivery team was not regular, and that's why the feedback came very late, and we end up in redesigning a system. Like, this is how in good old days it used to happen. Now what in Agile we used to do is this 5 phases or whatever intermittent phases are there, we try to accommodate this 5 phases into one sprint. So if the requirement analysis will take 3 months, instead of 3 months, it is going to take, say, suppose 3 days. 3 days for two developer or two team member, and then design phase will take some time. Development takes some time, and testing and maintenance. But if this is happening at epic level or a story level, so you are having a sprint backlog which has already been split down into epic or stories. Usually epics resides in a backlog only, and if the epic is small, then it will come to the sprint backlog, or sometimes it may spill if the completion cannot happen within sprint. So if there is an epic, we try to compress that with all these 5 phases into one, and then we used to deliver it into agile fashion. So how that is going to happen, that is what we will be seeing. So let's talk about agile. So agile is a methodology, or it is an iterative approach. When I say iterative, means it's running in a cycle for project management and software development. Mainly, it is going to help team to deliver customer faster and quicker result with very few roadblocks. As we have seen earlier, when it is taking 6 months for a customer to see something on the screen, or to see like there is a prototype model also, but a prototype you have shown in the prototype model, but the actual thing how it is working in the production, that is taking more time. But here the delivery to market is very fast in the agile methodology or agile approach of software development. So the focus is, instead of putting everything big bang after 6 months or a year or 2 year on the customer, we used to take something which is small and shippable, and small but at the same time consumables, shippable, and the incremental model kind of thing. So out of 8,000 requirement, 8,000 business rules, maybe in one sprint you are just focusing on 24 business rules, or maybe say suppose 42. There is um, some number which is important to go, only those things will be covered. So in that fashion, what is happening? The requirement, plan, result, everything is evaluated continuously. So a natural mechanism of responding to the change will be very quick. We can do it. But here in this case now, say suppose there is a bug in a system, and that is a bug. If that bug is discovered at production phase, we can understand, okay, production phase some bugs comes, that's fine, production or maintenance phase. If bug is discovered at testing phase, effort will be relatively higher to change something. If bug is at development phase, effort will be relatively higher than the testing. Now say suppose you find something at production, but that bug is design bug. If the bug is at design level, then you may need to change entire code base, everything. So if bug is the design bug, it's very difficult. Now in production, you are finding bug which is a analysis bug or a requirement gap. And if requirement gap is huge, it may lead to a huge amount of loss of time and rework of the thing. So that happens usually in waterfall model or in other models. So these things we can overcome with this agile, where continuous requirement plan and results are evaluated, and our team will be quick enough to respond to those changes. Fine. So now we'll see some statistics mainly between agile and waterfall. Apart from the time to market, if you are going in waterfall also, still success rate is 26%. With agile, success rate is 42%. Why? Because we are failing fast. Failing fast means if we are failing within a sprint. We are not failing after a year or after completion of entire project for the development after 2 years. And challenges wise, we can see it is 50% challenged and the failed is 8%. But here failure rate is 21% because of obvious many reasons which we have already seen, and that is the reason you have seen a huge shift across all the organization. Now we can say more than 95% of organization are following agile, and others model like rad or other things is kind of outdated, or few of the things is what they are doing, like CAD is there, computer assisted development, or rad, rapid access development, or prototype. Only few of those things are there. And within agile also there are many ways which we can do, that will be seen. So within agile umbrella, scrum is just one part which we are saying. Kanban you are familiar, which our team is doing currently. Extreme program is something which for intense development team will do. Lean agile is also one way. RUP, um, what is RUP? It is nothing but rational unified process. So in RUP, you will be uh, talking about 4 stages like inception, elaboration, construction, and transition. So that is all about RUP. Crystal, again in Crystal, you will be having a four focus mainly more on the people rather than the project, and then you will be having something as crystal clear with 8 people, or crystal yellow when you have a big team between 10 to 20 people, or a cluster orange or crystal red for different team size. Then we have something known as DSDM in Agile. That is a dynamic system development method. And then FDD. FDD is what? It is a featured driven development methodologies. So out of this many, and then again there are many things which comes in this umbrella. Like if you merge Scrum and Kanban, it will become Scrumban. We'll be focusing mainly on the Scrum. So why giving this picture is important is just to get an understanding that, hey, the Scrum is not only Agile. Agile is much bigger than only Scrum. So that is one of the misconceptions which many people are having. So moving to the next one. So you can see across organization from the best practices of the agile methods and thing, if we see almost 56% organization within a agile, I'm not talking about any other software development life cycle, within agile 56% of people are using Scrum. And then like someone with a Scrum ban, or Scrum with XP or hybrid. So if we combine these things, it covers almost 70% of the practices which industry is doing, and then remaining are less. Like lean, mainly the startup will do, is just 1%. Extreme programming also 1% will be doing. Spotify again 1% model. Iterative development is 3%. Kanban mainly Kanban people will do into high maintenance project. When project is fully into the maintenance mode, that time they will do Kanban. Others are like, there are other things which are out of this, and then you have the Scrum and XP or hybrid of that. And Scrum Ban is again in between Kanban and Scrum. So usually people prefer for active development and all working on Scrum. And if project is in the phase where it is in uh, where it is into the maintenance, into the production, and they are having, it's multi-tenant and you have several customers, still you are onboarding, so some of the minor enhancement and the things are going on. So in that way, we'll merge Scrum and Kanban, then it will become Scrumban. And then obviously there's a hybrid which multiple technologies and on. So undisputedly, majority of the portion which you are saying is on Scrum. That's why we are tending towards moving to Scrum from a senior leadership perspective. Okay, so I will take a pause at this moment before moving further. Whatever I am just sharing you, is it making sense? Again, we are obviously going to deep dive into each of the things, but at this moment, do we have any queries? No?
Okay, so far.
Okay, thank you. So we'll see what is Scrum now. So Scrum is a framework. Okay. And what this framework says is, here the Scrum team or a development team, uh, we try to solve a complex problem and comes up with some productive and innovative solution with very highest possible quality. So just see, Scrum is not for a simple project development. For a complex problem also, people are using Scrum. Again, innovation and productivity is one part of it, where we are giving them solution which is productive and innovative enough. And the most important thing is the quality. So we are not compromising with quality, and we are giving them a top world class quality product or a delivery. And this specific framework assists you for a smooth and productive way to deliver and product by applying a agile principle. So what are agile principles we will be seeing? But again, you can see the emphasis is on end product, delivering the end product. That is what we believe. So you will be seeing, we won't believe in agile on more on the documentation and other things. Agile itself is having some agile process which we used to follow. Apart from that, no other process. So the Scrum itself is very lightweighted and it's simple to understand, but it's difficult to master. So these two things are contradictory. Why? Because when the sprint is going to be executed, you'll be having something known sprint success or sprint failure. So sprint success, if it is decided, oh, if the sprint completion is more than 85%, then we'll classify those sprint as sprint success. But if the priorities are not set, if the sprint planning is not proper, the capacity planning is not done, and if the estimates are going wrong, if the grooming is not well, means if we are lacking on some of the things, we end up in sprint failure. So our objective is within a Scrum to have always successful sprint. So 85% completion till 90% of completion is something which industry says, okay, we can consider it as a sprint successful. But if the sprint completion is, say, suppose 60%, how this completion is defined? It is defined on the basis of story points of the sprint which we will be taking. So on the story point, don't bother at this moment. We will cover in our subsequent slides. So that is the reason why we say it as difficult to master, because its entire change to the developers, to the team members, to the project managers who used to manage, and now we are saying, hey, as a project manager, you cannot interfere into this Scrum or sprinting. You don't have any role to play in Scrum. So how project managers and the senior managers are going to track the entire a typical project management process, where no project initiation, the planning, control, implementation, and all these things happen with the project closure. So it contradicts with those things. That's why we say it as difficult to master. So let's see what are Scrum values. So Scrum strictly follows these 5 values: commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. So these values are very important from Scrum perspective. So when we say commitment, it means we are highly committed, we are highly dedicated for providing high quality working software and active collaboration. Here we are not saying software. We are always associating software with the working software, which means whatever we are shipping within a sprint also, that is something which is working from a sprint one itself. But in waterfall model, V model, or other software development life cycle, you cannot assume or we cannot imagine that within first 1 month or 2 month or 3 month the client is going to see something. But here that's possible. And how we will do? With active collaboration among the team members, with Scrum Master, with product owner, and a product owner obviously is continuous in touch with the customer. That is our assumption. Second thing is courage. When we say courage, so courage is to accommodate client's new requirement and to deliver high quality product every time in every iteration. Now you might be thinking, hey, you are saying Sagar to be very courageous, and the client is changing requirement altogether. That is the reason I will be maybe tomorrow we'll be coming with some slides with a triangle where we'll be seeing there are 3 parameters which are there which we cannot control, but one parameter is something which we can control. That is sprint velocity, or number of story points which sprint, which team can deliver. So I'm parking that discussion for those topic. But here, what we are saying is, to the customer, whatever you think, in one sprint we deliver something, in second sprint we deliver something, but you don't like for XYZ reason, or you want some change. We are highly agile and flexible enough to accommodate, adapt those changes right now. Just every time, imagine example of guided missile. In the guided missile, when the target is fixed, and but that target is moving target. Okay, so target is moving and your missile is also moving. So the target is changing its coordinates every second. So your guided missile is changing its coordinate every single second. How? If you remember first slide, by adapting ourselves with the change. So the team will be courageous enough to accommodate any new customer requirement if they want, again without compromising with the quality, by delivering high quality product in every iteration. Third is focus. So when we say focus, always we talks about priority in a sprinting, which means if something which is not on priority, we are not going to do. Why so? Because in sprint backlog or within a sprint, you are already having limited number of stories or story points which you can deliver. So we cannot work on low priority or medium priority work. So all the team members within a scrum, they will ensure that, hey, I'm working only on the most priority thing. And that is what we will be seeing. Your product backlog is prioritized backlog. Your sprint backlog is also prioritized backlog. So when we will be talking more in the sprint backlog slide, that time you will be seeing, say suppose in a sprint backlog there are 20 stories. Out of those 20 stories, one developer go and pick story number 13. Why? He thinks, okay, this is easy one, or I am having more expertise on this, I am going and picking story number 13. That's not acceptable. You can go and pick story number 13 only when these 12 stories are completed or are in progress, or some other developer are working on that. Then only you are going to pick up story number 13. If someone is picking story number 20, no, no, no. So on daily basis, product owner may change priority of the sprint backlog. If because of some reason you are working on story number which is at, say suppose at the 20, then you need to talk with the product owner. Hey, you are asking me, or the priority is being changed, but that is not reflecting in the sprint backlog. So you go and change the priority, move it to priority number 3 or 4, whatever within a sprint. So I'm going to work on that. So that's why we say focus. Mainly will be focusing on the current priority irrespective of their changeability. Whether the change is big or small or medium, moderate, doesn't matter. But whatever is on priority will be working on that. So full focus is one of the Scrum value. Then fourth is openness. When we say openness, and you have seen the transparency also in one of the slide, which means you are fully transparent of whatever you are doing to the stakeholders, and you are consistent with the team members. And if there is any new change, we are open for accepting those new change also. When we say transparency, which means earlier what was happening in other model is after 6 months only, or after 3 months, or when the major release is being scheduled, that time only the customer is going to be aware of, hey, this is how my software is going to look, this is how my product is going to look. But for those 3 months, the customer were in the gray zone, means they were not aware what is happening, means we were not transparent as a as a team, or as a development team. But now here, after every sprint, customer can see. When we say customer can see, here who is the representative of customer? Product owner. Product owner can be from customer, product owner can be from our organization. So after every sprint, product owner is seeing, and product owner himself or herself is deciding in a sprint review what he or she is accepting, which means it's complete transparency of whatever is being developed within a sprint. If something which is not completed in a sprint, which means that's not completed. So transparency is one thing with all the stakeholder, not only with the product owner, all the entire team members and everyone is aware of when you will do sprint demo or review. And openness is obviously for a new change. And the last is respect. When we say respect, it means we are respecting roles, the norms, the need and expectation on the various Scrum partners. Uh, like when we'll be seeing Scrum Master, anyone can be Scrum Master, and someone who is playing a Scrum Master role, we are going to respect that role, or we are going to respect a dev team member, or say suppose product owner is there, and whatever product owner says is the final thing in terms of prioritization and other things. And when we respect, so whatever norms we are having, the Scrum values and all, the principles we do respect, and that's how uh, cross industry the agile is being accepted and great results have been found. So moving to the next one for the manifesto. Before that, I believe we are clear with the Scrum values. So Agile Manifesto will be our last slide today. So here you can see we are emphasizing more on individuals and interaction over process and tools. We won't follow any strict process apart from whatever agile sprinting and all we are having. Means process perspective, what is the process here? Okay, daily stand up. Then you are free for the day. We don't have much meetings or any other things. Internal sync up or offline sync up, if developer is doing at their level, that's fine. But not 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours only on the meetings and other things, or just following one process, second process, third process. No, no. And updating everything on 10 different kinds of tools. No. Say suppose if we are using Jira, so Jira is a Bible for us. Everything will go on Jira, just one thing. So here our focus, our emphasis will be more on the individual and interaction among the individuals within the Scrum team, with the stakeholders and all, apart from following the process and tools. We'll give more emphasis on the working software. If the software is working, we don't bother about the documentation. So you won't be seeing detailed documentation uh, so very minimal documentation will be needed in Agile, or we won't be having very elaborative documentation. As like if I give my example, I work in one project in Extension where we were following V model. We took almost 3 months in designing phase just for documentation. The entire team was working on documentation. It was huge use case specification, which we created, and then we had say some more than 40 components. For every component we had one use case specification, and in that use case specification you had wireframes, uh, and on those wireframes for all the elements in the UI, you will be having a business rule associated with that, and those business rules will go into a business rule catalog. So somewhere around 8,000 business rules with business rule ID was there. And for those business rules ID, if there is any message, what has to come? So message catalogs was there, list of value catalog was there. So it was big document. And then once that document was done, then the developer, the QA team members were referring those documents for their development and testing. So here in Agile, we are not going to do all those things. Rather, we'll be focusing mainly on the working software. Third thing is, we'll be focusing on customer collaboration instead of contract negotiation. Now, what happens, like if I give you the previous example only, once we delivered everything within 1.5 year, then there was a change. So those change came as a change request. And then we started negotiating. Hey, earlier we had that contract, but now you are violating that, and now do this, do that. So unnecessary friction and conflict will come. We don't want that. Okay, so here Agile focuses mainly on the customer collaboration and how customer is collaborating continuously every sprint. You are having someone who is a product owner, and product owner is a representative of customer. So you are directly in touch of product owner who is with whom you are collaborating. So customer collaboration is very frequent, and responding to change rather than following a plan. If you are having a plan, say suppose you are following some Gantt chart, and with that Gantt chart, you have a detailed action. Those actions are into steps, and then steps are again broken down it into a different subtask, and those process will be very typical. So we won't follow that typical plan here, but we are very much adaptive enough for responding to the change. So these four are the Agile Manifesto, and that's what I wanted to cover for today. I'm just doing a quick recap of whatever we have seen. So what is Agile, what is Scrum and Agile Manifesto? At least these three things is what we covered today. Remaining things will be covering tomorrow. And now somehow you are now trying to correlate when we say what is transparency, what is inspect, and then what how we are adapting. And this entire picture, you will be getting more and more clarity as we keep on diving into our slides and further sessions which we will be having for the agile. But terminology wise, this terms only product owner, product backlog, sprint planning meeting, and all these terms we are going to use more frequently. And we have seen what is agile versus waterfall, and within agile umbrella there are many things, and across industry we have seen 56% is for the scrum. What is scrum? We have seen its Scrum values, mainly commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. And finally, Agile Manifesto, that is individual and interaction over process tool, working software over documentation, compressive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. So last 2-3 minutes open for queries from anyone. No query.
I'm okay.
Mukheshwar, I think for you everything is new. You have anything, or you already learned it in your college?
No, Sagar, everything is new for me.
Okay, okay, fine. So it will be interesting to you. Okay, thank you,
Yeah,
team. Then we'll be meeting tomorrow, same time. And all these slides I am going to share with you. And anyway, we have recorded this and it will be available to all of you. Thank you. Have a good day.
thank you. You too.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thanks for the session.
Thank you.
Thank you.